When the Final Fantasy VII Remake was announced nearly a decade ago, fans swelled with the ideas and possibilities for what that could entail. Years later, we've now received the second part of the trilogy of games, encompassing the entirety of Final Fantasy VII and its extended universe. Does this newest entry expand and improve this fantastical world of Final Fantasy VII?
Ready to do this?
Yeah, you bet.
Or does this Shinra train go completely off the rails?
Spare me. You had your chance.
This is our review. Hey folks, if you enjoy this video review, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, notification button. It's 3 small clicks for you, but means the world to us. Let's get started. Rebirth is a dense game, one filled with a plethora of minigames, side quests, and characters galore. In many ways, it feels like Rebirth has made that PS1 instruction manual come to life like we could have never have expected. Seeing a region like Cosmo Canyon not just built up and rendered better than before, but filled with activities and a culture that makes the world feel lived in. Each area in Rebirth feels distinct but never loses sight of its relation to the larger world. Side characters will appear throughout your journey and have connections all over. The dense forests of Gangana are drastically different from the mountains and desert of the Corel region, but each zone feels like part of the same whole. However, it can be frustrating trying to navigate these environments, looking for world intel or other side activities. The map isn't always helpful, and oftentimes there is an intended path to get up on a high cliffside or cavern, which isn't always clear to the player. It resulted in me spending a lot of time looking for a weirdly placed rope or hidden chocobo jump pad. Your mileage may vary though.
For starters, how do we cross these plains?
Come on now, that's easy. The same way you get anywhere. Pick a direction and start walking.
The Gold Saucer is a giant casino and amusement park built in the middle of the Corel region. Serves as both a vacation spot for the party, as well as a location to engage in some activities like the card game Queen's Blood, a 101 fighting game, and even a spaceship shoot 'em up. You can also enjoy some theater performances while you mosey around. The Gold Saucer is a standout experience found in Rebirth. It's full of whimsy and spectacle, but is also used as a minor tool to showcase corporate greed and interest despite the toll it takes on the economics of the surrounding area. It's a perfect encapsulation of the rich get richer, and is the antithesis of everything your fellow party member Barrett stands for, which drives home his personal storyline in Rebirth more succinctly.
Took away their future and their hope.
Its gilded halls are a constant distraction from the evils and corporation that built it, a story that rings more true than ever today. The juxtaposition against the poor and rundown mining town speaks volumes to evil corporation Shinra's intent on running the planet into the ground for profit.
You Shinras. You take and you never give back.
The Gold Saucer is just one of many areas for you and your party to take a break from the trials of adventuring. The open environment breaks up the pacing of the main story, leaving you to explore at your leisure and uncover the stories told through its characters. Not everything has to be accomplished before moving on, and Rebirth doesn't expect you to complete everything in one fell swoop. Some of Final Fantasy VII's funniest moments are found in its side content, making it a pretty enjoyable experience to hang around with.
Midgar isn't big enough for us. We're taking our operations worldwide.
Whether you're wrangling those loose chickens for an old farmer, or hunting down a debt for a downtrodden bartender, all of them feed into the struggling lives of civilians living on a dying planet. However, while Rebirth revels in the goofiness fans love about the original, its core themes of environmental sustainability and breaking fate get lost in the shuffle. This is most present in the main narrative, which attempts to gamify cutscenes and otherwise simple scenes. Moments like the parade in Juron are a standout, where the gamification of an otherwise straightforward scene adds to a much larger world and puts you front and center.
Based on that, the 7th is off to a solid start, but can they build on this beginning? Let's see what they do next.
But when so much of the game's narrative thrust is pushed by sections of completing minigames, it feels monotonous after a while. There are moments of pure brilliance in Rebirth, but they are punctuated by sections of throwing boxes, playing a shooting rogue gallery, or something else. I will, however, use this moment to talk about the best minigame in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Queen's Blood.
Queen's Blood?
This new card game is a similar ilk to the Triple Triad or Tetramaster. However, it's not just another side thing. It's woven into the entire world in a smart and thrilling way. Each town has more players to face, more cards to collect, and more dark stories to unfold. The depth of Queen's Blood creates some of the best aha moments in the game. Learning how to use a different style of cards to craft the perfect deck against your opponent makes it a worthwhile endeavor. If you're a fan of Gwent or any other card games found in RPGs, Queen's Blood is worth seeking out your time in Rebirth. Outside of standard matches, you can find skill challenges and other versions of the game in Costa del Sol or the Gold Saucer, which frequently update their challenges through the main story progression. So always be on the lookout for more when you want to break from the narrative.
Sometimes you gotta take the L if you're serious about upping your game.
Rebirth's main story attempts to toe the line between being a grand adventure and trying to hunt down Sephiroth to try to stop an impending doom at hand. It often feels like it gets caught up in the former. While the game deviates from the chronology of events of the original Final Fantasy VII, it also expands on many aspects to a somewhat faltering degree. The game never knows when to let up on the gas, which leads to weirdly placed boss fights and oh, there's one more thing sections that feel like a step too far. This hit me after completing a lengthy section that consisted of throwing boxes to hit switches and open doors. It culminated into a one-on-one boss fight that felt needlessly difficult with insta-kill attacks and halted the momentum of the entire section. Then, just mere moments later, I was faced with another boss fight, and then a boss fight that is literally drop-shipped in from out of nowhere. These sequences are reminiscent of a child slamming together action figures, hoping something cool will come of it. After the dust settled, you're left with scattered pieces of something special strewn out across the living room floor.
Whatever. This is way above my pay grade.
Every moment of Final Fantasy VII is someone's favorite, and it's neat that the team made sure as many moments and characters weren't just included, but elevated. It just comes at a cost of letting some moments speak for themselves, instead of being muttered by some other last-minute game or boss fight. Interstitial cuts to other characters during key story moments break the flow and ultimately never reach a satisfying payoff. It's a balancing act Rebirth fails to ultimately capitalize on. Many diehard fans will revel in these moments. Many others will feel it constantly pulling the focus of the game away to something else entirely, and Rebirth spends so much of its time unfocused on the task at hand in lieu of keeping the moments of Final Fantasy VII sacred. While the main plot is loosely held together as you globetrot all over the planet, Rebirth's strength shows in its characters. It doesn't waste time retreading old ground or reintroducing them. They are a party, they've been through a lot together, and behave accordingly. Whether it's the tough exterior of Barrett Wallace or the caring nature of Aerith, the cast of Final Fantasy VII shines through in spades. Your party's contribution to side quests and ambient dialogue while walking around help tell their story. While Cloud is the main protagonist, Rebirth never lets you forget that this is a team effort, and the rest of the party have lives, people they've lost, and deep emotional wounds that need healing. Even the non-playable additions of Vincent Valentine and Sid Highwind round out the party in new ways. Sid's go-getter attitude and charisma balance out Vincent's broody loner mentality. While I wish we got more of both of these characters throughout Rebirth, I'm happy they fit so naturally into the party dynamics without feeling forced. Taking a group of outcasts and turning them into a found family is at the core of Rebirth's party. It's a cast of characters that I've grown even more attached to over the grand adventure, and one I can't wait to see continue to grow in whatever the next game ends up being. The voice performances ring through strongly and provide moments of levity, heartbreak, and raw emotion. No matter if it's side content or the main story, Rebirth's cast is easily the strongest piece of the puzzle. The usage of character themes during crucial moments accentuates an incredible score, and one that never stops giving different renditions of fan-favorite songs. Its ability to use just a few notes of a familiar theme and incorporate them into a new track helps drive emotions home in critical scenes. The emotional weight that the songs of Final Fantasy VII carry cannot be understated, and Rebirth's soundtrack doesn't just invoke those feelings, but uses new arrangements with purpose.
So, that's it?
Well, since you're here, we'd love to stay and chat, but Brood and I are busy people. She'll be more than happy to keep you company, though.
The combat in Rebirth feels more dynamic and even more fluid than in the remake. Smart new additions like synergy abilities and actions allow each fight to feel more like a team sport rather than a solo act. The new synergy actions give you quick access to some team-up attacks to build your active time battle gauge and give your party some cool combos. These culminate in a more flashy synergy ability which act as a limit break style attack, providing your team with unique buffs like additional limit break options, increased stagger duration, or unlimited magic points for a short duration. It's another plate to spin on the battlefield and another powerful tool in your pocket for fights. They come in clutch in a difficult boss fight or trying to string together a combo that makes you feel like you've opened your third eye. It cannot be understated how much better the combat in Rebirth feels. Well, at first, it can seem overwhelming with all the menus and shortcuts you have present at any given moment. You'll quickly fall into a groove as you learn each character's unique traits and systems. FF7 Remake's NPC Chadley is back in Rebirth, and he even has a combat tutorial for each party member to nail down the basics and take learning a character at your own pace. Combat is hectic and keeps you on your feet, especially if you're playing on the dynamic difficulty setting, which will automatically heighten or lower enemy difficulty depending on your skill level. It's a neat feature that makes the game feel challenging without being overbearing, and you can always swap down the difficulty settings at any point. New party members Red 13, Yuffie, and Kate Sith all bring new exciting abilities to combat. All of them feel like natural extensions of Remake's combat system, while adding their own spin. Red 13's Vengeance mode focuses heavily on blocking and filling up a unique meter to unleash devastating attacks, is vastly different from Kate Sith's casino-style moveset focused on rolling dice and playing slots. I've never been one for gambling, but more RPGs should explore gambling as part of the class structure. Something about an entire party member relying on random dice rolls adds an incredible risk-reward to fights that kept me on the edge of my seat. Maybe that says more about me though.
But not my best.
While there is a lot to love in Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, it left me disappointed in its main narrative. I wish it was more focused on telling the story set out in Remake, and its constant need to push the kitchen sink into each plot beat wore on my resolve throughout the entire game. It's hard to quantify Rebirth's importance when so much lingers on the notion that it's only part of the story. Whether you're a casual Final Fantasy enjoyer, an extended universe sicko, or an original FF7 fan, Rebirth provides a wide canvas of opportunity for you to paint upon, but one it's ultimately afraid to permanently paint upon itself. Every plot beat or character written in pencil, waiting to be erased if it doesn't fit the narrative ideas the Remake series tries to tie together. Rebirth's narrative choices can feel inconsistent at times and often questionable, but its heart carries through. Despite it all, a stellar combat system, evocative soundtrack, and extensive cast of characters make this journey worth seeking out, even if the pieces don't fit perfectly. I look forward to seeing how they tie the story together and hope that its third entry is more focused on what makes the series special. Hey folks, if you enjoyed this video review, be sure to hit that like, subscribe, notification button. It's 3 small clicks for you, but means the world to us. For more video reviews and everything else gaming related, you're already in the right place. You're on Shacknews.com.